let it drop.
Oh, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another welcome to another Good Talk with Bad Moms tonight on the Red Angeles Network. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Red Angeles. I don't want to forget to say this later on in the show, but please go ahead and subscribe to Red Angeles on X, which was formerly Twitter, Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, even though we're banned for now, and I think that's it. Maybe more, but one of those would be fine. I have Emma on for a little bit until she starts getting super fussy. Then we're gonna switch her off to Dad, and I'm gonna do the thing by myself. I was gonna say damn thing, and I said it anyway. Anyway, Emma, hi. Say hi to the whole audience. Oh, look, she wants the mic. Okay, babe, I think it's time. I love you, but we gotta go. We gotta get you going. Today we're gonna be talking about what are we gonna talk about? Patience. Thank you. See you again, Emma. Love you. Thanks, babe. Yes. Bye. That was quick, but I realized that she's gonna slip and slide, and I'm gonna probably, not a lot of patience there. Yeah, right. That would have been a perfect example of what it means to have patience, but baby doesn't have patience. So we got to kind of use our discernment and not wear her patience out because she doesn't understand what it means to have patience. Sometimes I actually say, oh, baby, just have some patience. Wait for me. I'll be right there. But then I find myself talking to myself and I'm like, she doesn't understand patience. How could she wait for me? Like, she's as patient as a baby gets. And quite frankly, I feel like a lot of us who grow old but do not grow up, we do not develop that idea that we do not develop patience and the right meaning of patience. So I'm one of those people. I was a pretty patient kid, but, throughout life, things happen. You start getting weary, you lose your patience. And it's not even so much that you lose your patience as much as you get frustrated and you don't know how to deal with the frustrations. So then we call it losing our patience. But how can we lose something that we don't even understand we have? How can we lose something that is probably not even there? If we've never developed the skill of remaining patient or being patient, then how can we ever confirm that we've lost it? Or how can we, it's just, we put ourselves in a position where we're like, oh, I lost my patience, but we don't know what that means. So I'm going to define from what I learned because I've always had trouble staying patient. And I recognize that if I don't develop this skill of becoming patient, that I'm going to lose out on a lot of relationships that are important to me. That being the one with my children, for example. So I started this journey of understanding how to develop patience, the skill of developing patience. And mind you, it's very difficult. It's the most challenging skill I've had to learn because with it, with patience, you have superpowers. Without patience, it's chaos and destruction. And I've noticed that when I try to rear my children, when I'm disciplining my children, the most effective way of discipline would be through having patience with them. Now, what is patience? I listened to so many podcasts. I read so many books. I talked to counselors and advisors and other life coaches and peers, friends. And the idea of patience it never spoke to me. I could never get it right. I always thought having patience is withstanding, tolerating. But really, it's not. It's not you're not tolerating when you have patience, real, true patience. It's more godly. Okay, it's more godly, this feeling of patience. I'm on Instagram right now as well because I want to let you guys know, middle of it all, please subscribe to Rumble and all the other streaming sites because I do want to get off Instagram Live and we do want to grow our other platforms. So thank you for your patience. For me, when I would tell my kids to do something once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and you're like, oh my God, you start feeling that rage boiling up. And every time I felt that rage coming up, I was like, Narina, you have to control yourself. And the idea of controlling yourself, you can't control yourself because you don't know how. Because when you're losing your patience, there is no more control. When the rage builds, there is no more control. And I would find myself eventually yelling to get the job done. And to be honest with you, I hate how I sound when I yell. I sound retarded and, I don't know if we can use that word, but I sound underdeveloped, okay? Like a child yelling, I want it done. I want you to do it this way. Wah, wah, wah. It sounds like whining. It sounds like terror, And when you look at your children after that, you're like, oh my God, what did I just do? What kind of irreversible damage did I just cause? Because you think about those times when you got yelled at by your parents, and really, it was never effective. It was just scary. So, not to take the accountability off of me, but we did learn these behaviors from our elders. It was never taught to us how to have patience with one another because nobody modeled it for each other. So all of the podcasts I watched, all the videos, it wasn't resonating at all. And it's interesting because the one book that I hadn't read, the Bible, had the best perspectives on staying patient. And I came across this one sermon and I forgot his name, the pastor's name, but I'll credit him when I actually research it. But I came across this sermon and he gave me a perspective about patience that blew my mind. And he said that patience is joyful endurance. Joyful endurance. And it just blew my mind that how can those two words resonate so deeply? I found that the whole time that I was staying patient, I was not joyful about it. I found that every time I yelled after staying patient, it was after I had felt so much frustration and resentment or ill feelings. I was not joyful when I was patient. And I thought that patience meant waiting. And quite frankly, patience is not waiting. Patience is not waiting. You're not going to just be idle because that's laziness in a sense, Patience is joyful endurance. You have to actively participate in staying patient by reminding yourself that the thing you're staying patient for example, my children, I have to be joyful about. I have to be joyful about it. And that's one thing that I feel many have lost, and that's the ability to be joyful. Not happy, not excited. Those are fleeting. Those feelings are fleeting because you don't want to be happy all the time anyway. That's scary. You see those clowns? Clowns are happy all the time. Nobody likes clowns. But to have the power of feeling joy and to be joyful, that is a consciousness that you have to attain. And the reasons why you attain it is because of pure love, honestly. You love your children. You're patient with them joyfully. You endure because you want to teach them and you want to guide them. And like immediately I felt remorse. Immediately I felt remorse after understanding what patience was, and that was joyful endurance. Why did I feel remorseful? I felt remorseful because I know I had caused pain to the people who I love the most. They're my children. I know that my ideas of what the timeline should have looked like, when they should have finished what they were supposed to finish, those were causing pain. That was causing pain. My perception was causing pain on my children. And I'm talking about my children because, yeah, they're the closest people to you. And I'm sure you've lost your patience with your children, you, viewer, watching this. And just losing your patience with your children is painful for you. You actually go backwards in your development as well. So, yes, joyful endurance. Now, joyful endurance, that also comes with having faith. If you're faithful in God, if you understand what God's purpose is for you and what his will is for you. And so he asks us to be faithful and patient. And a lot of times we fail at that because we have in our mind what the timeline should be. God is looking at us and our timeline, and it's like when he tells us to be patient and to wait and to be faithful, it's like as if he just told us to wait and be patient and be faithful. But for us, him telling us to wait and be patient feels like it's already been an eternity. And then we take matters into our own hands. We deny God. We deny God's request to remain patient and to be faithful. And so we take matters into our own hands and decide to do the things that doesn't serve us really because we become impatient. We move outside of God's timeline and into our timeline. And what really is time? What is time on God's scale? Time is nothing. And so I found that, and I'm not perfect, of course. Of course I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect about developing my skill of becoming patient. I still lose my cool, but I found that I lose my cool way less now, and I found that I actually am more accountable. I find that my children are more vocal and verbal with me, like giving me feedback, even in times of disagreement. And I remain patient with it because it's one thing to say to your children, like, hey, you shut up and be quiet and sit down and listen to me because I'm your elder. And another thing to like have that back and forth discussion with them so that way you're learning and they're learning to not be afraid and for you to not be scary. Because why, like, which parent loves that thought of being scary to their children? Like, I sure don't. I hate it, actually. So I'm on a journey of developing patience with joyful endurance. Our elections recently, our elections test, and not just our elections, let's go back like the last 4 years that we've been aware, okay? Most of us have not developed the skill of patience in the last 4 years. As a matter of fact, we've gone backwards. We've become more frustrated. We've become angrier. We've become just unable to connect with one another because of the timeline. Like it's moving too slow or it's moving too fast or whatever it is. It's the timeline is not matching up with what God wants versus what we want. And the last 4 years, through having to deal with pedophiles, all right, let me just say it like that, having to deal with rogue representatives, having to deal with incompetent medical people, we've endured so much, and it's kind of hard to have joy within that endurance, because guess what? Patience is joyful endurance. And I feel like we were not joyful in the last 4 years, and we endured a lot. And we lost families, we've lost friends, to death and to principle. And we had to kind of like understand that we're all starting not from the beginning, but we're starting from the beginning of the next chapter with this new election. Um, a lot of people still don't believe in the election process, and that's fine. We don't have to necessarily believe in it, but what we have to do now is develop patience for the next 4 years, because there's going to be a lot more people that are coming out of the woodworks who are going to test our patience. And we need to actually develop stronger unity, stronger bonds with each other, more community, because there's a lot of building that needs to happen. There's a lot of people that we need to connect with. There's a lot of holes that need to be filled, lots of voids that need to be filled, spiritually as a people, politically as a community. So in order for us to succeed, we're definitely going to have to develop our skill of being patient joyfully. My dad and I have a very strong relationship. Strong, that's the word. It's hard on the relationship because there's so much going on with his illness, for example, and just my being a mom of 3 kids. And there has to be a lot of patience for helping take care of, your sick parent. And I lost it a lot of times with my dad. Actually, to go back to that, I never had patience. I didn't know how to have patience. I was always angry. I was always upset. And even though I did the things I needed to do as a daughter, even though I did all those things, I wasn't doing it with joy. And when I wasn't doing it with joy, I literally like throw all my work down the toilet after losing my cool with them. So I'd be there all day just working, slaving. And then we'd get into one fight. I'd lose my patience and down the drain with that one. And not until recently, until I started understanding joyful endurance, that I start understanding my father and his own pain and his own misunderstanding and his own misconceptions on life, and understanding that he doesn't know patience. He doesn't know joyful endurance. And I turn around and I look, at my brother, unfortunately, and he has a substance abuse problem. And he doesn't have the patience, the joyful endurance to clean up himself, for his family. And so it's weird talking about it on air, because it's like nobody wants to air the problems that they have in life to people who might or might not be listening, but it's difficult to air it out nonetheless. But I had to develop patience with myself so I can understand how to show up for people who can't show up for themselves. And I'm talking about this as a matter of like a day's work. Every day is a new day that I have to develop myself. And it's very hard to do that when those around you whom you love do not practice the same way that you're practicing things. So having a brother who's on substances and having a father who's ill, cancer, even though we beat it, it's still a scary thing on our shoulder lingering. And every day that I get a phone call from him, with him claiming he's going to die any time now, it's like I have to understand how to develop this patience with him so that way we're not arguing if he's so close to death, for example, right? Even though it might just be in his head, I couldn't keep arguing with him about it. And so I was like, how do I live with this person? How do I be with this person? How do I have this person in my life and not resent them and not hate the things that they say and not hate the things that they, do, even though I hate it so much, but hating it only would make me feel more resentment, less patient. So what I understood was I have to do better by these people by developing myself. And I said that a lot right now in this conversation, development, 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 but that's what it really is. I could give you example after example about how I failed staying patient, about how I failed being patient as a wife, about how I failed being patient as a mom, as a teacher, as a student, and how they all affected my life. Like being impatient with your dog. Your dog doesn't understand patience. How would he know what it's like? And being impatient with him only made me have these hateful feelings about an animal who doesn't even know what it means to be patient or why I'm getting so angry in the first place. That thing doesn't know. But all I was doing was hurting myself in the meantime by being impatient with him, by not creating scenarios where I could control the scene. So if I was upset about my dog's hair all over the place, I hadn't set the parameters for my dog. And now he has parameters that he's in, and the hair problem is solved. But the whole point was that I was just going in this cycle of abuse on myself by being impatient. I would, and I'm saying I would like as if this was like years ago. No, this is like things I'm working on actively. But I like to think of it as something in my past. Whew, it's hot in here. Phew. I like to think that it's in my past so that I can move forward. But it's always an active work in progress. As far as something that we're all going through, that is our new presidency. That's our new cabinet members. It's just a brand new day coming for America and Americans. And I want to know how we can move forward, move on with these people who created so much hell for all of us, I want to know what we can do moving forward with the people who we were so impatient with. Because they didn't disappear, they didn't go anywhere. They're still there. They're still going to be very much a part of our lives the next 4 years, and they're going to try to thwart our efforts. But what we can do, for example, we can be patient with ourselves and understand that we still don't have to tolerate any of their things that they're doing, but how we can do this effectively moving forward where we're not causing scenes, where we're not screaming and yelling, we're not protesting, okay? What can we do together to move this fight along in another phase that we're in? We cannot be thwarted, okay? And I feel like it's shifted. The energy has shifted to a little bit of a calm energy because we see Trump coming in like a bulldozer, and it's all good and whatnot. But Trump is not the end all be all. If we as a people do not develop certain skill sets, and within these next 4 years, we cannot guarantee that after these next 4 years, some fuckery, all right, is not going to happen again. That was lack of a better word. I think fuckery fit fine. But we don't know what's going to happen in the next 4 years, who's going to pop out of the woodworks. And so we can't really just sit back and take a breath of relief or a sigh of relief. We have to keep developing because the other side, you guys, they're going to patiently develop themselves and they're going to patiently wait for their turn to come up and they're going to patiently move until they're in all the arenas again. And when I say they, I know you know who I'm talking about. It's the rogue representative, it's the pedophiles, and it's those incompetent medical people who, by the way, these people all have to be held accountable. They all have to stand trial. Every single person who participated in the last 4 years to bring us down as a people, they all have to stand trial, and they all stand trial again in front of the people, not some sort of like faulty justice system. But no, they have to stand trial in front of the people, and we, the people, have to make our voices heard and known that we're not going to stand for anything like this anymore. If we right now in the next 4 years don't develop our strength together, we're gonna be liable to fall again. Because the other side doesn't stop just because we won. No, they're gonna work harder to make sure that they stop us. And I feel like the right has, I feel like the people on the right have way more activity now moving forward. We were asleep. I was a Democrat back in the day. Y'all were asleep. I was asleep too, but I just minded my own business. And so did you. But people who didn't mind their business, they came into our business. Left, right, didn't matter. And whoever fell in line with them fell in line. They're the culty feelings that the left gives. People who couldn't stand against them fell in line with the left. Those of us who understood, like, wait a minute, this isn't just about me being a Democrat anymore and being a feminist. It's going after my kids. It's going after all the kids. Wait a minute, then they're going to come after us if they go after the kids. We can't stand for any of this. So I naturally switched sides to God's side, and just so happened that most Republicans follow God. So I had no more patience with the left, even though I was on it. I had no more patience. And when I came to the right without patience, I recognized that, oh my God, I'm going to turn into a monster if I don't develop this. Let me see what the peeps online are saying. The first I voted for was Hillary Clinton. This time I voted for Trump. Awesome. Well, I don't know. Hillary Clinton. Let's not. Never mind. I should. If I say her name one more time, she's gonna pop out like Beetlejuice. That person has tested all of our patience. I'm telling you, these rogue representatives, they all need to be sent to medieval forms of punishment. Because what they did to all of us is should not be forgotten and should not be forgiven. Not even forgiven. Let God forgive them. Okay? I know it's not very godly. We should forgive too. We should forgive. We should forgive them. But we should not forget, and we should not allow them or people like them to move in on us again. Dang, I wish I had a guest tonight so I could like have this conversation with them, because it's just, it's speaking your mind by yourself. It's so fun. Someone said they're an independent now from switching over. Yes, we all switched sides. Whoever switched sides, we all did that. And it's a good thing we did, you guys. It's a good thing we recognize that it's not about party. What's the word? Party preference. It's not a party preference. It's a matter of, are you following what God wants you to follow? Are you joyfully enduring what God wants you to joyfully endure? I saw this video of this kid, cancer. He had cancer, 6 years old, probably 5 years old, and he's like, I'm joyful. And the interviewer's like, why are you joyful? He goes, well, because God has a plan for me. I know what God's plan. I know that He has a plan for me, and I'm joyful about it. I don't know what the plan is, but I'm joyful about it. Now, is he joyful that he has pain? Is he joyful that he has cancer? No. He's joyful to endure the pain and the cancer because he knows that at the end, God has a plan for him. And I'm like, bro, you're 5, you're 6. Like, this is amazing that you have this kind of perception on life. That inner joy of just being alive, despite his tragedies, I suppose, of having cancer at such a young age, which goes to show how his parents are raising him. And yeah, you could be miserable having cancer. Like my dad is miserable about things in his life. Like he's miserable about almost everything, actually. And all day, all I try to do is give him the perspective of like, hey, it could have been this way, it could have been that way, it could have been worse. But it doesn't even matter because he doesn't want to hear it. He's in his misery, and I don't even want to say he loves it, but he's familiar with the misery. If I present a different perspective about, hey, it could have been worse, he never wants to hear it. And it hurts our relationship, you know? He's never going to watch this either. Just like how he never read any of the 2 books. And it's because he's just the old dog, you know? And I don't say dog in a disrespectful manner, but like when they say old dog, new tricks, it's very difficult to. But going back to the child who is a cancer patient, who's 5, 6 years old, his parents are able to teach him and instill in him joyful endurance by way of God. And the difference between my dad and the 6-year-old is that the 6-year-old has God in his life. And in order for you to develop your patience, the joyful endurance is to understand how God shows up in your life. And God's shown up in my life many times, all the time, every time. And it was just me. I had to see him. I didn't find God. God found me. And in order for me to learn what God wants from me, I have to develop patience. It's not something that I could speak on for hours and hours, you guys. And the reason why is because I'm still learning it myself. But I thought it was a very important topic to discuss, a very important seed to plant, because I found that I needed this seed planted within me. I was never going to listen to a podcast worth a damn or a psychology book worth a damn that was going to teach me this better than the Bible did and better than a sermon did, one sermon. So I urge everyone to have developed that relationship with God and to identify the joy within you. So that way your children, your family, your loved ones, those who are perceiving you, they can see you in that joyful state. So when they look at your face, when they're making you wait, it's not demonic, it's angelic, okay? Because why would you want to frown at people when you could smile at them and joyfully endure them? It's only godly, you guys. So I encourage everyone who's watching, no matter what side of the aisle you're on with politics, no matter how you feel about, well, no, not abortion. Abortion is wrong. Abortion is wrong. I don't care how you feel about abortion. It's wrong. It's not choice. It's pro-abortion or anti-abortion. Okay, that could be a different thing. But I will have patience for you to come to this idea that it's wrong. And I will have joyful endurance for you until you recognize what's wrong and what's right. And the only way that you're going to do that is having a relationship with God. So with that said, I don't want to talk too long, too much. Whoever got what you got, those who have ears, let them hear. And those who have eyes, let them see. And I pray on me developing joyful endurance and you developing joyful endurance, so that way we can develop a real healthy community for our children. And those are the people who we are doing all of this for. And if we cannot develop these healthy communities, then we are wasting our time and everyone else's time. But what's time, right? Let's not waste time. Let's use time. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to call it a night tonight. And next week, I'll have a guest. There'll be a fun conversation next week. And if you guys have any ideas about topics that you'd like to discuss, I would be elated to discuss them with you. If you'd like to be a guest on Bad Moms, please go ahead and send me a direct message. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about under the sun. I like talking about God nowadays, so bear with me. Let's learn him together. All right, you guys. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Tandy. Thank you, Red Angeles Network. Thank you to the viewers for watching, and I hope to see you guys all next week. See you again. Have a good night. Good Talks with Bad Moms. Subscribe.
Let it drop. Let it drop.